Hi everyone, welcome to Rise and Shine, our second month. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to Lorraine for filling in for me this month. I'm so sorry I wasn't there to see all your finished blocks, but I'll be there next month to see you. So I'm here to show you today how to make our second block. And this is the one that we're going to do, and it's called Cathedral Floor. And we're gonna work on this from the inside out. So I'm gonna show you step by step how to do it. So let's get started. Okay, we're gonna be using our paper and we're gonna go by each thing. So we're gonna do step number one. And so step number one, what we're gonna have is our square. And we're gonna sew 4 of these triangles to the square. I've already sewn 2 on. We did this in the previous block, but now, so you're gonna do your third one. So I want you to look at something down here. When you're lining this up, that's what these nice little notches are for. So that's gonna line up right there, and we're gonna sew this seam right now. So let me get this started. Okay, I'm gonna sew the third one. And you notice I'm using my favorite little tool here. And I like to use these little cheater things so that I don't have to have all these threads everywhere. Okay, so this is our third one. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna iron this to the outside towards the triangle. And what you're going to end up with when we sew the fourth one is this little square right here. Okay, so for step 2 right here, we're going to add 4 triangles again. It's going to be the same process that you added these green triangles. So you're going to sew 2 first. The instructions tell you to iron towards the square. I honestly myself don't like that. I like to iron out because that reduces this bulk right here. But so you're going to sew 2, iron them towards the triangle, then you're going to sew 2 more, and you're going to end up with, it's actually a square and a square and a square. Sounds kind of, it's a square. Okay, for step number 3, we're going to be taking this small square, which is color B, and we're going to be adding these little triangles. So I've already made a completed one for you to show you, but I want to show you a trick on this. So when you're looking at the picture, it's kind of hard to figure out where does the second one go. Well, it's not going to go like that because then you don't have a straight edge. So for me, before I sew it, I lay it like that to make sure that I have this straight edge with those little triangles. So we're going to turn this like this, and it's going to be the same process. I'm going to line up those little notches right there, and I'm going to sew my 1/4 inch seam. And this is going to iron out to the little triangles. So you're going to end up with this. And you're going to have 4 of these. When you finish these 4, let's go to the next page. It's going to be step number 4. You're going to add your background color, which is your C color, to this finished unit. And so you're going to have 4 of these. You're going to sew this triangle, sorry. I keep wanting to say rectangle for some reason. You're going to sew this triangle to this completed unit, and you're going to end up with 4 of these. Okay, now we are on step number 5. We're actually going to be doing the same idea that we just did in step 3 and 4 with a little bit bigger square and triangles. So what I do, I have my square here. I've already sewn 1 on here. So again, I would lay this like that to make sure I have this nice straight line. And I'm going to line up my notches, and I'm going to sew it. I really like these little cheater thread catchers. Okay, and I like to get rid of all my threads as I'm sewing. Okay, so again, we're going to iron these out towards the triangle. You're going to have 4 of these units. I have my other 3 right here. And I want to show you why I like to iron out to the triangle. So if you look right here, you'll see where my 2 stitches meet. That's where my next seam is going to go, so that I make sure I don't cut off any of my little points right here when I'm sewing the next piece on. Okay, so we are on step number 6. It's the same idea as what we did with the smaller ones up here, where we added the bigger triangle to the set of 3. So we're going to take, again, our background color, and we're going to add it to this. And it only fits one way. It's not going to fit on this piece. It's not going to fit with this one. You can only do it one way. It's going to fit like this. So I've already sewn 1 on here for you. We're going to sew the second one on. And we're going to end up with 4 of these units, just like everything else. I need my trusty tool here. I like to hold it with my stiletto to make sure everything stays where it's supposed to. Okay, and again, we are gonna iron this seam towards the triangle, and we're gonna end up with 4. So here's our 4 units right here. Okay, so we are going to go to unit number 7 now. And you'll notice on my paper that I put press seam open, and I'm going to explain to you why I like to do that. I've tried it both ways, and right here in this area, if you press to the outside, you get a big clump where that corner is. If you press that way, you get a big clump there. And when you're long arming this quilt, you're going to hear that clunk clunk from your machine, and it's really hard to go over. So if you iron the seams open like this, it's a lot flatter area here because you didn't have all of this bulk going like that. Okay, so we're going to make 2 of these units, and what you're going to have are the units from previous, like this, and you're going to sew these to this unit that you have right here. And if you look at the picture, you're going to notice that you need this little square goes down here, not up there. So it's going to be like that. And you're going to sew 2 of them, and you will have 2 of these units. We are now on step number 8. And what we're going to do is take our 2 remaining pieces like this, and we're going to sew them to this square. So I want to show you a little trick that I do, and I'm going to use pins to do this. I'm going to go through where these 2 seams meet right here with my pin, and I'm going to go look at the front. It's right where I want it to be, and I'm going to match it to the little spot right here. So when I sew a seam like this, I don't like to just use 1 pin because it pushes the seam that way. So I'm going to put 2 more little pins in here to the side of each of this, right here like this, and this one. And I'm going to do what we're told not to do. I'm actually going to sew over those pins. But I use these little pins for a purpose. So I'm not telling you this is what you have to do because I don't want you breaking your sewing machine. It's just what I happen to do. So we're going to sew this, and I'm going to use my stiletto to make sure that seam stays right where I want it to be. I'm going to go right to here, and there's where those cross stitches are. And I'm going to go up to that point, and then I'm going to take these 2 pins out. And I'm going to continue to sew and make sure that this end meets. I have a little bit of excess here, but it's on the bias, so we're going to make sure that it fits in there. Okay, let's take a look at this really fast and see what we did. Get rid of my little hairs. And when we open this up, voila, we have a beautiful point. And again, we're going to iron this seam open like this. Okay, so we've sewn our 2 pieces here. What we're going to do for the rest of it is take the 2 units that we made like this, and they're going to sew to this piece like that, fold over, and I use my pin thing for the same area. I match those points. I match these to that little point right there and make sure that they all go really good. And when we are finished, we're going to have this beautiful block like this. Now remember, I tell you I'm a big fan of best press. So I best press the front of this really nicely. I also turn it over and I best press the back so that it holds it, because we're not going to be putting this in a quilt for about 8 to 9 months now. So anyway, just wanted to say thank you for joining me, and I have a little quiz for you guys. So when I watch back at my videos, I notice that I raise my eyebrows like that a lot. So I want you to go back and count how many times I did that, and then you can tease me the next time you see me. So have a fun time making your block, and I'll see you next month. Bye.